Understanding and managing MIDI is a skill that takes time and patience to develop, but the rewards are well worth it. Along the way, however, you may find yourself up against the wall with devices that act differently than you expect them to, for no apparent reason. Or maybe they don't even respond at all. This next section will provide you with valuable tools to help locate and correct potential problems. The best approach is to just use common sense. Trace your way through the system to locate the problem. Start at the end and work your way back. Examine and eliminate each component that is working properly. Remember System Setup Guideline number 6? This is where it really comes in handy. Check the signal flow for potential problems. Then, make sure the physical connections are secure and correct. The next step is to determine where the problem is really coming from: power, audio, or MIDI. Check the power on all units. Make sure they're functioning properly. Are they all plugged in and powered up? When working with this high-tech gear, it's easy to overlook the obvious. Make sure the appropriate LEDs or LCDs are lit up. Next, check the audio system. Make sure the cables are secure and that the speakers are connected and operational. Listen for hiss or other noise from the speakers. This means they're at least hooked up properly. Also, check the amp or mixer to make sure the input itself is on and its volume is up. Look at the synthesizer or tone generator and make sure its volume level is up. Just to check things out, you might try switching inputs on the mixer or amp, or plug another unit into the same input and check its audio output. Try playing a different range of notes, or see if the unit has a test tone mode where it outputs a steady signal. These are all quick ways to test different sections of the audio system. If everything is working properly up to this point, begin checking the MIDI system. Look at each MIDI cable. Is it secure, with outs or throughs going to ins? You might even have a bad MIDI cable. Try switching cables and see what happens. Also, look for a MIDI feedback loop somewhere in the system. If it's there, and if a device has locked up, the easiest way to reset it is to simply turn its power off, then back on again. If it's still not working, begin checking specific MIDI functions. Double-check each device's MIDI channel. Make sure the master's transmit channel matches each slave's receiving channel. Some units have an LED that flashes to indicate reception of MIDI data. This is a good, quick way to see if a unit is receiving incoming MIDI data. Check the owner's manual to see if your unit has this feature. When using a sequencer and a drum machine together, double-check their sync functions. Make sure the master clock is transmitting properly and that the slave device is set to MIDI sync. Also, a drum machine will ignore incoming note data if its channel message function is disabled. Again, check the owner's manual to see if your equipment provides this function, and if so, how to turn it on. Check to make sure the appropriate tracks in your sequencer are enabled for playback, and that the right songs or patterns are ready in your drum machine. In most cases, these tips will help you find and fix the problem. If it's still not working, check your owner's manuals for additional information. Some devices offer a MIDI monitor mode, which will display the actual MIDI data it is receiving or transmitting. This useful feature can help you track down a possible problem. You might also just find it interesting to watch the different types of MIDI messages as they happen. As a last resort, there is always a chance that the equipment is broken. Or maybe you found one of those wonderful little annoyances called software bugs. At this point, you should get some support from your dealer, the manufacturer, your friends, or maybe even your dog. Just remember that you're not alone in this new electronic world. There are places to go and people to turn to for help. Now, these same people would also probably appreciate hearing about how you solved the problem. As you'll soon discover, there is a certain satisfaction to plugging it in, powering it up, and making it all work. There it is. The first look at untangling MIDI. In this continuing MIDI series, we will delve further into the depths of MIDI and take the next step in applying its potential to your music. For now, dust off the MIDI gear that's been sitting in the corner and sneering at you, and have at it. Feel free to experiment. See what this button does. Explore that function. Remember, they're just machines, tools to help you make better music, and you're in control. Go for it.